Before we trusted paper, we trusted metal. It was real, tangible, something you could hold in your palm. A glittering god that didn't rot or fade. Across the ancient world, from the sands of Egypt to the hills of Rome, gold and silver spoke a universal language. A single coin could buy you food, freedom, or fealty, traveling across deserts and seas long before countries even had flags. This was pure certainty, a weight in your hand, a glint of sunlight, the only proof that your hard work, your harvest, or your conquest actually meant something. But even then, gold was more than just metal. It was myth. The Egyptians buried their pharaohs in it, believing its eternal shine would light the way to the afterlife. The Greeks stamped the faces of their gods onto coins, as if you could hammer divinity into shape. The Romans put their emperors on them. A message that Caesar's power wasn't just political, it was elemental, as real as the earth itself. To own gold was to hold a piece of immortality. To lose it was to be forgotten. The world learned early that wealth wasn't just about having something. It was about revering it. There was a strange irony in this, though. Gold's power came from its rarity, but that same rarity was also its curse. You couldn't eat gold. A chest full of coins was worthless in a famine, yet priceless in peacetime. Humanity loved it because it represented permanence, something we could never truly control. The Babylonians stored it in temples. The Persians marched it across continents. When gold spoke, nations listened. And when it vanished, empires starved. Power wasn't measured in armies, but in ounces. Picture an ancient caravan slowly crossing a vast desert. Camels strain under the weight of bullion, guarded by soldiers whose loyalty is as thin as the heat haze on the horizon. Every single step is a gamble against thieves, thirst, and betrayal, but still they march. Because somewhere on the other side, a ruler is waiting with his own vaults, ready to trade, to bribe, or to conquer. This was the slow, dangerous, heavy rhythm of ancient commerce. Gold was the lifeblood of civilization, but it flowed like molasses. As empires grew, their ambition outpaced their resources. Gold was both the engine and the anchor. Rome learned this the hard way. The Roman denarius, once a proud silver coin, was a symbol of strength. But as wars dragged on and debts piled up, emperors discovered a tempting trick: mint more coins, but with less silver. A tiny change in weight, a subtle dilution of purity. Just enough to fool the public, at least for a while. This was the world's first great experiment with inflation. People still trusted the coins. They saw the emperor's face, felt the cold metal. But they couldn't see the value draining away, quietly, invisibly, like the light from a dying star. By the time the empire fell, its currency was just a hollow echo metal, yes, but stripped of all its meaning. And here we find the first great lesson of money. Even gold ultimately relies on faith. The illusion was already there. We just hadn't given it a paper form yet. Elsewhere, gold and silver flowed like rivers between civilizations. The Islamic world perfected trade networks so vast that a coin minted in Baghdad could end up in a Viking's grave in Scandinavia. Each coin carried more than just value. It carried an identity. It said, this was made by human hands, under divine authority, in a place where order reigns. To accept that coin was to acknowledge that order. Money was never just about buying things. It was about trust, legitimacy, and power. It was political long before it was financial. The Middle Ages only deepened this connection. Kings minted their own coins to declare their sovereignty. Merchants weighed them meticulously to prove their honesty. Every coin was a statement of faith. Faith in the metal, faith in the ruler who backed it, and faith that the next person would believe in it too. When rulers debased their currency, trust crumbled. And when trust crumbled, chaos followed. Markets collapsed, armies mutinied. Gold might be eternal, but human integrity wasn't. For thousands of years, It seemed impossible that anything could ever replace metal. Gold wasn't just in crowns and vaults. It was embedded in our imagination. We talk of golden ages, silver linings, gilded dreams. But the more humanity worshipped gold, the more we became enslaved by its physical limits. The world was speeding up. Trade routes crossed oceans. Cities swelled. The hunger for commerce was outgrowing metal's ability to keep up. You couldn't just create more gold. You had to find it, mine it, conquer it. Then, around the 10th century, a quiet revolution began in Song Dynasty China. Their cities were bustling, their markets alive with trade. For merchants moving goods across provinces, carrying tons of heavy copper coins was a logistical nightmare. It was slow, cumbersome, and an open invitation to thieves. And so, necessity, the mother of all invention, whispered a radical new idea. What if value could travel without weight? What if wealth could be written down, not carried? This simple question would eventually unravel the world's entire understanding of money. At the time, it must have sounded like heresy. To suggest a piece of paper could equal a lump of gold was to question reality itself. Paper is fragile. It burns, it tears, it fades. How could something so weak ever replace the enduring power of metal? The great irony is that this very fragility would become its greatest strength. But that's a story for next time. In the age of metal, money was heavy, and so was its meaning. To hold wealth was to hold the earth itself, condensed into your hand. It was dirty, dangerous, and real. When kings dreamed of conquest, they dreamed of treasure chests overflowing with glittering gold. Gold asterisk was asterisk power. And in that brutal honesty, there was a kind of discipline. You couldn't just print your way to an empire. You had to build it, mine it, fight for it. Those physical limits kept civilization grounded. The age of metal ended not with a bang, but with the whisper of a quill scratching on parchment. A simple promise, signed and sealed, that could travel faster than any caravan. It started innocently, a merchant's note, a banker's receipt. But history rarely allows innocence to last. What began as a convenience would ignite a revolution. And that promise would become the foundation of a new world, one built not on metal, but on belief. Gold still glitters today, but its reign is over. We once trusted the earth to hold our wealth. Now we trust our own imagination. And that may be the most dangerous trade we've ever made. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past fascinating, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter in the story of money. See you next time.